Good day, ma'am. This is Jobert T. Hanoras from Block 1F, and today I will discuss all about the Philippine art history. Element of art: the visual component of a color from line, shape, space, texture, and value. Number 1. An element of art defined by a point moving in space. Line may be 2 or 3 dimensional, descriptive, implied, or abstract. Number 2. Shape: an element of art that is two-dimensional, flat, or limited to high and wide. Number 3. From: an element of art that is three-dimensional and enclosed volume. Include high, wide, and deep. Number 4. Value: the lightness or darkness of tones or colors. White is the lightest value. Black is the darkest. The value halfway between this extreme is called middle gray. Number 5. Space: an element of art by which positive and negative areas are defined or an sense of depth achieved in a work of art. Number 6. Color: an element of art made up of three properties: hue, value, and intensity. Hue, name of color. Value, use, lightness and darkness. Intensity, quality of brightness. And purity. Number 7. Texture: an element of art that refers to the way things feel or look as if they might feel if touched. Discuss the psychological in art. The psychological of art is the scientific study of cognitive and emotional processes precipitated by the sensory perception and aesthetic artifacts, such as viewing a painting or touching a sculpture. It is emerging multidisciplinary field of inquiry, closely related by psychological of aesthetics, including neuroaesthetics. Discuss the history of art. The history of art is the history of any activity or product made by humans in a visual form from antithetical of communicative purposes, expressing the ideas, emotional or a general of worldwide. Over time, visual art has been classified in diverse ways, from the medieval distinction between liberal arts of mechanical art to the modern distinction between fine art and applied arts. Method in reading arts. Carving uses the subtractive process to cut away areas from a larger mass and is the oldest method used for three-dimensional work. Traditionally, stone and wood were the most common materials because they were readily available and extremely durable. Number 2. Casting. The additive method of casting has been used for more than 5,000 years. It's a manufacturing process by which a liquid material is usually poured into a mold, which contains a hollow cavity of the desired shape, and then allowed to solidify. Modeling is a method can be both additive and subtract. Then artists use modeling to build up from with clay, plaster, or other soft material that can be pushed, pulled, pinched, or pour into a place. Construction or assemblage uses found manufacture or altered object to build form. Artists white, glue, bolt, and wire individual pieces together. Sculpture debris, Butterfield transform throwaway object into abstract sculpture of horses with scrap metal. wood and other found objects. She often cast this construction in bronze. Enumerate at least 5 Filipino artists and discuss their work. Number 1. Fernando Armosoro, 1892-1972. Labeled the Century First National Artist in 1972 by the President Marcos Fernando Almosoro, is often known as the Grand Old Man of the Philippine art. The Spanish-trained release developed backlighting technique, where his colorful depiction of local people reflect the radiation of the Philippine sun. Number 2. Benedict Cabrera, fondly known as Ben Cab. In the Philippines, Cabrera is the best-selling commercial painter of his generation and prominent head of the local contemporary art scene. He studied under Jose Hoya at the University of the Philippines and received his degree in fine art in 1963. Roberto Chabet. Born Roberto Chabet Rodriguez, he used his mother's maiden name Chabet when he began his career in art. He was mentor to many students in the University of the Philippines, where he taught for over 30 years and is acknowledged as the father of conceptual art in the Philippines. Chavez initial study architecture, but his conceptual art installation colleges and sculpture in the 1960s and 70s made him a rebellious figure of the local art scene. Number 4. Napoleon Abueva, one of the most famous Filipino sculptor. Napoleon Veloso Abueva was one of the youngest recipients of the National Artist for Sculpture title in the year 1976. Among other things, Abueva is known as the father of modern Filipino sculpture. He is credited for shaping the art of sculpture in the century. Number 5. Jose Hoya, a Filipino pioneer of abstract expressionism multimedia painter. Jose Hoya used bold and vibrant color with a variety of painting techniques, layering loose opposed strokes and controlled drips. His harmonious color of influenced by Philippine landscape and tropical wildlife. Number 6. What is the shape of Philippine art? Traditional art in the Philippines include folk architecture, maritime transport, weaving, carving, folks, performing arts, folks, oral, literature, folk graphics, and plastic arts. Ornament, textile or fiber arts, pottery, and other aesthetic expression of traditional culture. Number 7. Discuss the Baroque period, Classical period, and Romanticism. Baroque period, 17th-18th century era in the arts originated in the Italy that 17th century of flourished while elsewhere well into the 18th century. It embraced painting, sculpture, architecture, decorative arts, and music. Number 2. Classical period was known as the Age of Enlightenment or the Age of Reason, that the era spanned about 17th century. But in the short duration, musical practices began that have influenced music ever since classical period music, and by is by far the most common Western musical known today. During the period, public concert became prominent. Instrumental music was further developed. Secular music became more prevalent. Then church music and opera took a new role as more important form of vocal entertainment and musical drama. Number 3, Romanticism was a culture movement that started in Europe. It was somewhat of a reaction to the industrial revolution which occurred during the same time period. The movement effective philosophical thinking, literature, music, and arts. When was the Romantic style of popular? The Romantic movement started at the end of the 70s and reached its peak in the early 18s. It marks the end of the Baroque movement and was followed by Realism. Music idioms of the Philippines. Bagong tulog is literal fruit of sleep, but when used a conversation signifies or refers to dreams. Butot balat literally translate to bones and skin but is an idiom meaning malnourished skin, and bones is also American idiom for someone who were very skinny of makapal ang bulsa translate to thick pocket and used to describe a person with a lot of cash in their possession. Thank you, ma'am. That's all, ma'am. Thanks for watching. Love you, ma'am.